So I was having this thought. Anyway, I guess I'll get to it. There's this movie on Netflix, which is almost all the movies on Netflix are somehow left-leaning. They always got to be pushing this narrative of having a gay guy or a butch girl or some kind of lesbian couple, you know. And I'm not against all that or whatever, not in the way that, you know, of hate or anything like that. But it's not. They're doing it so much these days. It's not organic, you know. It's you know, it's like you can tell that they're just trying to push it. They want to fill these parts with these areas, and they got to write it in, and it's just weird, you know. You know, movies are just so much better, and there ain't a movie maker in the world that wouldn't agree. And if they wouldn't, then, well, they're changing their tune from what they used to talk. Sorry about all the bounciness here. But, you know, if movies are organic, you know, they just feel natural. They don't feel like you're trying to push something all the time and everything. And unfortunately, in this left, crazy-leaning America that we live in right now is, well, let's face it, they want to shove it in our face everywhere they can. You know, and I guess that's supposed to make it okay, you know. But anytime something's shoved in people's faces, it just makes people just push away more and more. You know, and it's something that we hadn't learned about human nature yet, I guess. But anyway, this movie, The Order, which is a pretty good movie, though. You know, it had a good storyline. And, you know, if you like sci-fi kind of movies, you know, and everything's sorcery and stuff, it was pretty good. But anyway, the whole point was this guy's getting this book. And if some people seen it, then you know. But it just kind of sparked a thought, which I already know, but it's amazing how in almost every part of our lives, these things are evident. It's like, you know, in the Constitution, these things are just self-evident. That the whole point, supposedly leading up to it, is all the greater good they could do if he had this power from this book. You know, but nobody ever thinks about anytime you have a great power, and we'll just relate this fictional thing into everyday life and in American politics today, is that the power can go both ways. And with the nature of people being like people are, most of the time it is more evil than it actually is good. You know, you look at Hitler, he had some idea it was supposed to be great, but it ended up being more evil than actually good. And, you know, Stalin had the same thing, but it was just more evil than it was actually anything good. You know, Mao's China, same way, more evil than good. You know, Venezuela right now, more evil than actually good. You know, and that's this thing that everybody, whether you're left-leaning, liberal, whatever, everybody needs to have a certain amount of conservatism in them. Because the fact of the matter is, it's the normal nature of man. You know, we want to eat all the sweets we want to, and we can, you know. But we know that if you do that, you know, you probably die earlier, and then, of course, you look fat like me. You know, or we want to do everything that we want to do, as much of it as we want to. But there's nothing in this world, nothing ever, that you don't have to have some kind of responsibility with and say, I can't do so much of it. But it's the same thing with the left, the leftists right now, wanting to give up so much power and wanting to give up so much of our rights. And the problem is they're always about how much good it's going to do. It's always about that. Nobody comes out and makes the case that we want to give up power and everything because we want to do more evil. Nobody says it like that, obviously. Nobody would do that because nobody would vote for that. So it's always about good. It's always about these people that, you know, that are suffering or oppressed, you know, that we can pull them out of poverty and everything, which nobody's ever been able to do. I ain't saying poverty ain't better than it ever has been. And under the certain circumstances we got in America, if you think about it, you know, even though you can open your eyes and see a lot of poverty throughout America, if you actually look at the percentage rates, though, people are being pulled out of poverty more and more and more than they ever have been, ever. I mean, even what we call poverty today is a smartphone and several flat screen TVs and some Xboxes and stuff. Now, we call that poverty. I don't, you know, we don't know what poverty is. I'm sorry. Americans don't know what poverty is. Not right now, they don't everything. I ain't saying there ain't some people in this country that do, but that's gonna be a small amount that are trapped up in some freaking fence somewhere or in the woods somewhere with their, I don't know, their inbred cousins or something, doing something. I mean, nobody is living the kind of poverty that these third world countries are and everything, and anybody that acts like they are being ignorant. But the whole point of what I'm trying to say is, though, anytime you have power for good, and there's nothing wrong with doing good. The problem is this the whole point of having the left and the right, the pull and the push and the pull, is somebody's got to be there to check it when it gets too far gone. And that's supposedly what our democracy's about, is when it gets too far out of hand one way, then there's another faction that comes along and checks it and pulls it back and says, hey, you're going a little far here. You know, and it's the same thing with power. Power can always be used for good. Okay, great. You know, and the thing that I see the left doing is they are not being realistic with themselves. They're acting like that automatically, if they adopt these government programs and all these other things and everything, that the government somehow or another miraculously all of a sudden is going to start doing better than it ever has before, which is ignorant. I mean, we're talking about people. I think people forget that it's always been people, even though we know people are the only people on this planet that run everything. But I think people forget that people are what do the worst things you've ever seen or heard of in the world have been done by people. So for any person to sit around and think that somebody's not going to do something, I don't believe that America will ever get this bad or something, it's no different people that ever done some of the most hideous, horrific things that we've actually seen in the world. And it don't matter if it's been 1,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago, or if it's only been, you know, 70 or 80 years ago. It's still people. And anytime you give people that kind of power, sooner or later, they're always going to end up going to the evil. I'm not saying ain't some good come out of it, but most of the time, just because this is the nature of life, another thing that we are trying to live in a fantasy world over, that, I'm sorry, this is the way life is. This is the nature of our nature. That's the reason we all, every day, have to try to be better people. You know, anybody that wants to be anyway. Because the fact of the matter is, our nature is the taking and greed and jealousy and anger and pain and depression. I mean, these are just normal, natural human traits that we have to deal with. So to act like human beings are going to automatically, just because they call themselves a governor or a mayor or anything else, is going to automatically not lean to some left to keep power or to get more of it. It's not going to lead, well, I said left, but I meant evil, which right now a lot of evil I see is going on the left. That is not to say that there ain't never been anybody on the right. We obviously know that. I think Jordan Peterson makes a very good point, is that we all know and we've seen, all the way from Hitler up, we've already seen how the right goes wrong and how it you know, it can get off course. And we can say, okay, I can see it. But on the left, nobody can say, okay, I can see it. Even though all the rest of us can see it. When you got people that are being, you know, treated like crap just because they believe a certain way, when is that? That don't happen. I'm almost 50 years old. I ain't never seen that happen. There's always been Democrat and Republican. I ain't saying there ain't been some radicals and everything like that, but to tell you the truth, on such a wide-scale basis of America and everything, I've never seen where it mattered if somebody voted for Reagan and somebody didn't. Somebody say, oh, I can't believe you voted for Reagan or something, and somebody else say, I can't believe you didn't vote for Reagan. That's fine, but you never seen it on this kind of thing where people are jerking people's hats off and they're taking people's clothes off, kicking them out of schools because they're wearing a certain thing they don't agree with. And it's like every movie has got to have some kind of agenda in it. And if you don't see this, you are just not wanting to see it. And I can understand. I can understand. You know, it's been your party all your life. If mine was going off the rails right now, I wouldn't want to like it. And